Word on the street is Concord's got some tough competition. Only nobody ever expected the next Concord to come out of such a former, and I emphasize that heavily, former beloved studio, Bungie. Most notable for Halo and whatever the hell Destiny has been for 2 console generations. I don't understand people that like that game, but there's a market for everyone. Anyways, pressure has been on Bungie extra hard ever since Sony acquired them. And pressure's on extra hard because this will be a first-party PlayStation studio publishing on Xbox and PC. So they really have to deliver. The game has to be excellent. It simply can't be less than fantastic. And what we got, well, what we got, let's just say, looks mid, and that's honestly putting it lightly. Now, off the bat, the visuals are impressive. The game has an art direction that could really benefit if Bungie was pushing for this game to have a single player campaign, but what we have here is yet another extraction shooter, and that is quite possibly the worst move Bungie could make. The market has some serious competition in this department. There are so many extraction shooters out there that the only people who are going to be playing Marathon are Bungie supporters and Bungie fans. And I'm surprised those still exist. And then there were people like me who are like, hey, why not? Let's give it a chance. I do want Sony to succeed when it comes to making live service games because I'm not entirely against live service games. Unpopular opinion, I know, but when live service games are great, they're fun. But the problem that I'm seeing here, based on a lot of people's reception online, and I agree with them, is that aside from the visuals, there doesn't seem to be much to set Marathon apart from its competitors. I'll give them this. They created a cinematic short film that looks fantastic, but just doesn't represent the gameplay whatsoever. Promotional material like this is good to attract people, but once they see Marathon in action, it disappoints. Because what you're seeing in that short film looks narrative driven, looks like it has a story, looks like it has characters with things to say, a world to get to know. But that's not what Marathon is, because as it stands, Marathon will not feature a single player campaign. So one could say this short cinematic is slightly misleading, but I will say at the same time, it's beautiful to look at. Some people were saying online they don't like the art style, they don't gel with it, but I love it. It's just disappointing to know this art style is confined to solely PvP. So that brings up the question, how good is the PvP? Or at least, how good does it look? Well, we have 15 minutes of footage, and you're seeing it in the background right now as I'm talking. I'll let you be the judge of that, but for me personally, it doesn't look like anything I haven't seen before, aside from the art direction. So what does it have to keep the player engaged? Gameplay, of course. The thing, however, is that the gameplay here seems like it would have appealed to people like 5 years ago. It really does seem, to me, as if Bungie is cashing in on a trend that's on its way out already. I mean, I was there day one when Apex Legends came out, and seeing this, I'm not seeing anything special. Also, doesn't help that the official Marathon YouTube channel doesn't really break down in detail any of the unique gameplay elements, gun types, game modes, objectives, equipment. There is no deep dive, it's just very selective gameplay shown to you with no actual talk about what the game has going for it. As a matter of fact, other content creators who have had access to it have more to say than the official Marathon YouTube channel, and that's not good. It's really sad too, that in spite of not having much to tell us about what this game is about, just looking at it, I've already seen this template in a dozen other games just like it. So we already know how it works, even before touching it. And I think that's why the internet is entirely unamused. It's like Concord in the sense that you're half a decade too late. It just doesn't seem like this board game has a chance because they want to release it in September, alongside the time Borderlands 4 is going to be releasing. At the very least, you can tell that they're trying their absolute hardest to market and promote the game, because it seems like they invited a bunch of creators to all play this game at once with an alpha, and several creators that you may know went and got a chance to play it, and it really doesn't seem like they're that enthusiastic about it either, which is not a good sign. Bungie has a very loyal following, There are a lot of very popular Bungie creators. Well, when you talk about Bungie, it's limited to Destiny, but Destiny players, Destiny creators could make it if Marathon makes it. Because I don't know what Bungie plans after this. Because you would figure with an art style and direction like this, it would be far more than just an extraction shooter. But that is what the release product will be. And, well, what comes in the release product? 3 maps, 6 characters, and a battle pass. I'm assuming the game's gonna have 1 single mode. As for price, we're just told it's gonna be a premium product, but word on the streets is it's going to be $40, which is actually a good price. But the problem here is this looks more like it has potential as a free-to-play than it does as a game you gotta pay to play. But it gets worse, you see, because we also find out apparently Marathon won't have proximity chat, because according to the developers, it'd be way too toxic, and they don't think anyone has a good solution to that. An extraction shooter with no proximity chat. You gotta be kidding me. If people are paying money, give the most basic of necessities, especially in a multiplayer game where communication is vital. I mean, it's also a product for adults, so I'm assuming adults can handle themselves, but Bungie cares too much, apparently. You don't have to overly sanitize the game about guns and shooting other people to death, okay? Pretty sure the last thing I'm worried about is someone telling me they fucked my mom, as I'm about to have my head blown off. I mean, you can solve all your problems by just giving people the option to toggle it on and off anyway, right? I don't know. Perhaps the game is called Marathon because you spend all your time running away from toxic things players have to say. Or you'll spend all your time running away from the microtransactions and battle passes because it is a Bungie title after all. What we have here is so vastly different from Marathon 1994. And you'd figure the game deserved a massive overhaul like Wolfenstein and Doom got, but instead they turned it into a limited extraction shooter that's PvP only. And what they're releasing just doesn't seem big enough. Even at $40, it has to be free to play. Maybe then people won't be so hesitant or scoff at $20 skins, who knows? But it does not look like a faithful adaptation of the original. It makes you question how Bungie went back and looked at their original game and thought to themselves, this would translate quite well into a 2025 Rainbow Six Siege extraction-like shooter. One of the most odd business decisions ever. I mean, at the very least, it's not completely hopeless like Concord was. I'm sure there will be a handful of people who will play it. I mean, I do want to try it myself. I'll see if I can get access to that beta, but I'm definitely not sold. I don't want to open my wallet for this. It's still unbelievable that Sony actually paid $3.8 billion. What was it, right? Let me look it real quick. Sorry, $3.6 billion betting on this being the next big thing. Sony's investments have been very poor this generation when it comes to the multiplayer scene. Helldivers 2 was pure luck for them. Everything else has sucked, failed miserably. Bungie did not deserve to be saved. Bungie got a good deal. $3.6 billion, that's a lot of money for a company that didn't look like it had a very bright future. You know Bungie is fresh out of ideas when they're reaching back to a game from 1994 and slapping an extraction shooter template on it. It really does just feel like this game doesn't stand a chance because it's not free to play, and its release schedule, and the amount of content there, and the heavy competition around. I can't say it's bad yet, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm very underwhelmed with what I'm looking at here. And I was actually holding out hope for this title. But just knowing that The Last of Us 2 factions had to die for this? Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting something more than the same extraction shooter I've been playing for the past 5 years. I do not see the faith Sony had in this over The Last of Us factions, and why Bungie's influence played a role into any of it. I'm not impressed. Art style is all this game really seems to have going for it, and flair can only get you so far. I mean, I'm sounding quite pessimistic, I know, but the best things going for this game are its cinematic or very well edited gameplay trailers. In motion, there's nothing that seems to separate it from its competition. Not even PlayStation fanboys can hype this up. So many of them online are disappointed, and that shows in the amount of dislikes that are continuing to go up on the trailer. It's fair to say Sony did not make the right bet with Bungie. This company was dead in the water before they even acquired them. Creatively bankrupt. Destiny players should be ashamed of themselves for letting this company not sink a lot sooner. But hey, if you're interested in watching me play this and trying to get early access to it so I can give you my thoughts, then now's your chance to subscribe and stay tuned in while I cover more Nintendo news, anything you could think of, daily videos. Never thought I'd make it this far. On the road to 80K subs. Let's get there. Also, tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific time, I will be streaming. Be there, you don't want to miss it, on the main channel. That being said, see you guys in the next video.
Free Congo sucks ass.